This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence, a podcast that helps you build the soft skills that lead to real results. Communication, storytelling, public speaking, and showing up with confidence in every conversation that counts. I'm Tim Newman, a recovering college professor turned communication coach, and I'm thrilled to guide you on a journey to becoming a powerful communicator. Today's guest is Cam Beaudoin. Cam runs a video agency that helps speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs use video to get noticed, trusted, and booked without spending hours pitching themselves. His agency works behind the scenes to attract event planners through powerful, story-driven video. Cam, welcome to the show. We've had a few conversations. I love your energy. I love the way you approach things. So I know this is going to be a great episode.
Tim, thanks for having me. Yeah, likewise, this is going to be so great. So I hope I'm not too bubbly for a Wednesday morning here. This is going to be great.
No, I don't think you can be too bubbly. But see, to me, that's part of it, right? You've got to come with energy. When you're on a stage, you got to come with energy. And I think when you're on video, you have to really come with even double that energy because you can't feel that power in the room. You can't feel that energy, and so you have to really kind of up that that level so that you really do connect with the audience that's on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot, actually, like projecting your energy through the camera. You've got to add like 50 to 100% more, raise that level because you know, how many boring videos have you ever watched online? Yeah, like a lot, right? Like, you said you're a recovering college professor, right? And how many college professors are just droning on in front of the room? And like, you can't be like that. You got to project that every time you get in front of camera, you are on a show. Like, this is what it's all about. And here's something interesting. If you go and do some like media training, they're going to tell you the exact same thing. They're going to tell you, like, if you go and you want to do, you want to get on the news or go breakfast television, they're going to tell you like, you gotta like project. You gotta like put that energy out there to go. It doesn't mean you got to jump off the walls. It doesn't mean you got to be Mr. Beast or all these kind of like crazy YouTubers, but it does mean you got to kind of take it from inside you and be like, I gotta project this energy to whoever is watching me through this camera.
Exactly. Because if not, within 7 seconds, people are dropping off. You really have about 7 seconds on video to either hook them and grab them in, or you're really losing them. So you got to bring it. And I talk about this every once in a while. So it's been about a year ago. So I've been doing this podcast coming up on 2 years. I've got another podcast I've been doing for 4 years, and up to about a year ago, I couldn't take a selfie, dude, because I didn't know where to look. And so I'm 57 years old. And so this whole technology stuff is really kind of new to me, but if you're trying to bring energy and be on camera and you don't know where to look and you can't take a selfie, it doesn't come together real well. So you got to get better at your craft.
Yeah. And like, I think this is part of it now. We're coming up 2026 now, right? Like, I'm not sure when the show is going to be released, but to anyone who's watching, who was like, I'll get to it one day, and I don't know, like, your audience demographics and things, but at one point people were probably sitting there and arguing like, should I get on Facebook or should I use a smartphone? It's like, if you're not using video now, if you're not like getting used to this technology, and it's resistance. It's human resistance to not want to learn something like this. But really, we're talking about take a half day, learn how to put your camera up here, like point it to yourself. Look, I like doing this picture in picture. It's a great visual, right? You do that. You give like, hey, I'm Cam, just like, nice to meet you. You know, here I am doing this kind of stuff. You take a picture with your volume down button, boom, and it takes the picture for you. And like these little things, you're going to show it to somebody else. It's going to blow their mind. You're going to be their expert. You're going to be an expert to them, right? It's all these little things that you kind of just got to get going and get doing.
Yeah. So let's start with you. You know, you spent 7 years speaking on disability inclusion before shifting into actually helping speakers, you know, build content and demo reels. What was it that switched for you to make that transition?
Well, a little backstory. So I was employed at IBM, and they would send me around all around North America to go and speak at conferences about digital accessibility, because that's what we like. They wanted to use that as a way to get leads. So, by the way, speaking is a phenomenal way to get leads. And even if you're not getting paid to speak, I think we need to disconnect. We can maybe talk about this. Disconnect that whole idea of like, I got to get paid for this keynote. Like, thou shalt not pay me an honorarium. How dare you? It's like, we'll talk about that.
Right.
But so they would send me around to go and speak at events, and in the hopes of creating a presence where IBM was seen as an expert on this topic of disability inclusion and digital accessibility. So that was where I cut my teeth on speaking. During the pandemic, I had this bright idea. I'm like, I'm going to go and learn how to become a better speaker. Like, I'd already done 30 stages by that point over my career there. And I said, maybe there's an opportunity here to still go and like become better at the craft. Right. So I took a couple courses. In one of the courses I was in, I witnessed the 10 people in the cohort. They all got like hammed up at the video portion, and they were all kind of like the same situation. They were kind of like 45 plus, maybe 50 plus, and they had owned businesses or wineries. One was a lawyer, a politician. They wanted to learn how to speak better, speak gooder. They all got hammed up. Like when our coach said, you got to go get a demo reel done now, and go watch your own content. They also like, I'm not going to watch my own content. My time is better served doing something else. So there became my first 10 clients, like right away. Right. I saw an opportunity in the market. I said, there's a pain point that people have here. If these people have this pain, there's going to be other people who have that pain point. And I just kind of rolled with, excuse me. I just kind of rolled with it with that. So I pitched them and I found more clients. I found more people who needed help with video. I stopped doing accessibility because I got so busy doing the video stuff and content creation for speakers specifically that I just kind of left that. So I didn't need to. And there's a whole conversation about branding we could probably have too. I didn't want to muddy the waters there. And so people, what are you doing? Are you doing speaking? Are you doing demo reels? Are you doing video? Like, what are you doing? So I kind of had to like really be intentional about that. So that's the story. And I've been doing it for 3 years now.
Yeah, I think you started off in a perfect way, in that you want to get better at your craft. You've been doing it for a while. You've done 30 stages. And here's the deal. I've got a speaking coach. I've been speaking for 30 years. John Maxwell has a speaking coach. If John Maxwell has a speaking coach, who do you think that you are, that you're good? You don't need to get better. And maybe you don't need to get better, but if you want to be good at something, you have to be getting better. You have to be doing things to get better and practicing. And watching yourself on video is one of the easiest and best ways to get better. And because it's cheap, it doesn't cost you anything other than your own embarrassment and say, wow, that's what I really look like. So now I can start working on things. This is how I sound. This is how I can start working on things. And it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, I love that analogy. Like if you were an athlete, you'd be watching your content, right? Like you would be, you would get together as a team and you would all say like, okay, here's where you didn't swing properly. Here's where like, you know, your team member should have been there to pass the ball to. Like this would be done in every other industry. If you're in sales, what do? You'd run mock calls, you do team training, you pair up and you coach and stuff like that. For some reason, it seems like once you become an expert or like an authority, or like you feel like I'm an expert on burnout or something like that, you're like, I don't need, like the speaking is secondary. It's all about how I was able to recover from trauma. And it's like, whoa, like slow down. You need to become an expert at your craft, because look, there's no storyteller out there who hasn't listened to their story. Like comedians, right? Comedians, Jerry Seinfeld to this day still goes to dive bars and rehearses and practices his skits. They all do, right? They all do. Because when they're getting paid $4 million to go do a Netflix special. Do you think they wanted, is that the first time getting out there and doing it? Like, no. So they're
Absolutely not.
rehearsing, they're practicing, they're training, they're rewatching. They're like, oh, can I land this hook a little bit better? Can I do that? One easy technique. Here's an easy technique for any speaker who, while you're watching your content, if you're a little bit embarrassed. So it's a 3-step tactic. So number 1, watch your video with no audio. Press mute. Don't do anything. Just watch and see how you felt. Would you be attracted to yourself if you saw yourself on stage or on video like that, right? Are you engaging? Are you looking at the camera? Are you moving your arms? Are you being like, are you too close? Are you too far away? Then next step, shut off the video. Just do audio. Just listen to yourself. Are you engaging? Are you changing your voice inflection? Are you able to like slow down the important parts? Are you speeding up where you want people to heighten tension? Are you creating those moments? Do you sound interesting? Or you sound boring? And then step number 3, you can go and just watch the whole thing with audio and video together to see if there's a match between those. Because sometimes we're up on stage super bubbly and happily when we're talking about something sad. And there's a little bit of like mismatch there as well. So these are all things like these, just tactics. And look, when you're making a 2-minute video, like, is it really that much of your day to spend 6 minutes getting better at what you're doing? I think not.
Especially what the return could be on the back end of that.
Absolutely.
On either way. So like you said, a 2-minute video, if you just half-heartedly do it, how much, what's the opportunity cost that you've lost? And how much could you have lost in business, as opposed to, like you said, spend 6 to 10 minutes practicing it and getting better at it? How much more money, or how much, more context, or whatever it is that your goal is, can be gained from that extra 6 to 10 minutes?
Yeah. There's not a speaker that I haven't had a conversation with who doesn't say, I want more leads. Like, I want more speaking leads, right? Like, like I asked, like, what's the biggest thing? Like, I don't have enough stages. Like, I want more stages. And like, it all starts with becoming like the greatest speaker that you can become. Now you're looking at Tony Robbins and Brene Brown. You're looking at all these people who are celebrity speakers, and you're like, I could do that. You can't. Like, you can't right now, or else you'd get paid that. Like, there's an entire business that's built around that, but it starts with you getting better at that craft, you getting better on. That's why I love video so much. It's an amazing placeholder. You don't have a stage. Turn on your camera, write a darn script, go deliver your message to a camera, and go put it up on YouTube. You'll get raw data on, like, was this good? Because people talk a lot about this algorithm, and it's like, oh, the algorithm hates me. It's like, no, the algorithm doesn't know what to serve it to, because you're talking about burnout one day, then you're talking about how to get a job the next day, then you're talking about how your dog got sick on day 3. It's like the algorithm doesn't know who to push you to. Like, what is your channel? So like, there's this whole theory on like just like make better content, like get better at your craft, then the opportunities will come.
To me, dealing with the younger population, almost the entirety of my career. They want things to happen today. I mean, they want it to happen quickly. And like you just said, they jump around from topic to topic to topic, as opposed to taking one topic, one area, refining it and becoming good at that. And like I said, we are going to talk a little bit about branding, and that's part of that branding process, becoming the go-to person in that area, knowing that area inside and out, so that you can speak on that, so that you can coach on that, so you can provide services on that, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you can't be that voice, or that person, if you're jumping from topic to topic to topic to topic, and now nobody knows why they should even go talk to you or listen to you.
Right. And I think it's rooted in fear. Like, these speakers who are like, I'll go speak to anybody but anything. We all know people like that. Like, man, I met this lady, phenomenal speaker. Like, her craft was really good, and she was charging $10,000-$15,000 per gig. And to a lot of people, that sounds like a lot of money. But when we were speaking, it's like, what do you want to be known for? Like, who hires you? Like, oh, I can't get any consistent gigs. I speak 2 times a year, 1 year, then I'm speaking 4 or 5. So it's like, yeah, you can solve a lot of problems for a lot of people, but unless you're known for that one thing, like when people say, I need somebody who can help us with this. If you're not that first person, that within that first 3, let's just say, then your brand association's weak. Like, that's what you got to work on next.
Right. And that's not easy. I don't want people to think that that's an easy thing. It's not a light bulb type of thing. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes some serious introspection on your part as an individual. And maybe you could help doing that, help somebody that can help bring that out of you and help develop that brand as well. It's not an easy overnight process. It does take time and effort.
Yeah, yeah. And but it is a journey of discovery. It's
Yes.
not something you can just say, I want to be known. Well, you can. You hold on. Let me retract that. It's a journey of self-discovery. Because you're going to say, like, if I wanted to become an expert on I don't know, like how to make the best headphones in the world. Like if I that was my goal. Like I wanted, like, I'm an audiophile. I like great sounding music. Like the journey to become the best audiophile on the planet and then speak about it. The first step isn't going to spend $100,000 on every single headphone out there. Like that's a poor idea of what it's good. Because then you're gonna, at the back end, you're like, but I spent all this money, but like the world owes me because I did all this work. It's like, no, you got to start to discover in public. You have to start to go and share the message on and on and on. And there's a whole idea around like binge watching your content and things like that. But if you then all of a sudden become this, oh my gosh, every time I talk to Tim, he's talking to me about these damn headphones, yeah, then that becomes like, next time, or maybe I'll use me. Every time I talk to Cam, he's talking about these damn headphones. Well, Tim, when you hear your friend say, hey,
as a chef, I know flavor doesn't begin in the kitchen. It begins on the land. And Westhome's nature-led Australian Wagyu is a story written in the landscape of Northern Australia. Cooking is storytelling, and Westhome Wagyu carries a story of Northern Australia itself, raw, powerful, and deeply authentic. It's a testament to the passion and care raised in the rhythm of Northern Australia. I'm Chef Maylin from 88 Club in Los Angeles, and I invite you to visit westhome.com/Maylin to learn more and taste a story only Westhome nature-led Australian Wagyu can tell. That's westhome.com/MEILIN.
it's Black Friday coming up, and there's like a couple headphones. I have no idea which one to pick. Do you know anyone? Like, do you have any recommendations? Who do you think you're going to think of first? This damn
Go talk
Cam
to
guy who's like,
Go talk to Cam. He's probably still talking about it.
He's still talking about it, right? Like, go watch his videos. Like, and that's brand association in a nutshell, right? But it is not an overnight thing. It is time, and you're absolutely right. Like, a lot of people don't want to spend the time to get good at that thing and become known.
Yeah, and just so the listeners understand this, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been talking to people on stages for 30 years, and I've made a transition from being I'm a recovering college professor now, and now what do I want to be, right? And it's still not easy. I know what I want to do, but I'm starting to build a completely different brand, same niche, same area, but it's a completely different brand from what I was before, right? I'm still talking to the younger generations about connecting and growing their network and becoming successful in their careers, but it's a little bit different now. So building that brand association, and I come back to, just because you're over here and you built this brand, just like you, right? You had to make a transition, and you had to do some of those other things, so that you're seen differently. And now Cam was over here and Tim was over here, and they made this pivot, and now they're the experts in this area. So we have to look at them from that perspective as well.
Yeah, and you can't be switching too much,
right?
Because you haven't given the market the time to get used to you in this new phase. Like, I can give two examples here. Let's do Mel Robbins, because everyone pretty much knows Mel, right? She was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 lady. Right? Like, she had that technique, and now she's becoming the Let Them lady, because that's her latest book, right? Well, it wasn't like 3 months after 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that she released her new book called Let Them. There's like the dissociation there. You kind of have to let the market see that, oh my gosh, like, Mel's an expert at this and she's changed my life. And you have to let those testimonials and the proof kind of catch up with you that you're the expert. And by the way, that proof is so undeniably powerful. Like, testimonials and proof, like, the more of those you can load up, like, you got to wait just to get that. Like, you got to wait to get success, to prove success. Because I think that's what a lot of people also don't realize. Like, we're all in it for ourselves. So when you're out there teaching somebody about communication, you got to wait for the people to say, oh my God, like, thank you so much, Tim, for helping me get this result. Because then you're like, okay, that worked. Now I can start to, like, build on that. Because if you start to make too many changes before you've got testimonials, people are coming in and be like, hey, don't you do communication? You're like, no, I've switched to deck building now. Like, it's like, what? Like, okay, well, nothing there to talk about, so I'll see you later.
Exactly. And I'm not a self promoter at all. And again, maybe that's one of my issues. It was one of my drawbacks. But I don't know if you know this. I just released a book about 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Maybe it's 3 weeks now. I don't know. Because time flies by so freaking quick in this
Yeah.
business, right? And one of the things I'm proud about, when you do Amazon and you pick the categories, this, that, and the other thing, and I had a reach category that I wanted to be a bestseller in, and in that category was Mel Robbins, was Simon Sinek, a couple other people, and through the first week, Mel Robbins was 1, Simon Sinek was 3, I was 5. I ended up 5.
All right.
So
Mhm.
to me, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Now I'm no Mel Robbins, I'm no Simon Sinek, but it's those when you're going to do something, also you have to set these goals and build that brand.
Totally. Mhm.
It comes back to that. You can't just say, okay, well, I'm going to shoot for over here, and this isn't where my people are. My people
Mhm.
are in this category, and you have to go for it. You have to actually put yourself out there and do the work if you want to be recognized for that work and build that brand as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like putting in that work. I mean, what you're talking about is outreach and
Mhm.
advertising
Mhm.
and letting people
Yeah.
know. I have this theory, and like to any speaker who's listening, I want you to prove me wrong. Okay, prove me wrong.
Mhm.
When we get up on stage and we see 30, 300, 3,000 eyes looking
Mhm.
at us, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm a big dog now. Like, look at me. Nobody knows who you are. Like, it doesn't matter if you've
Right.
been speaking for 30 years. Like, Tim, I love
Mm.
you, but I haven't heard of you until we started talking about this podcast, right?
Right.
You may
Right.
have been speaking or helping speakers and being a college professor for like 30 odd years. I've never heard of you before.
Right.
And and I think what happens is that we think that we are much bigger than we are
Than we are.
because when we're on stage, we get a ton of validation. I'll give you solid proof of this. Anyone who's listening, don't know if you know Alex Hormozy. He's one of these
Yeah.
internet guys, big guy for
He's huge.
lead gen, and really awesome guy.
Mhm.
In one of his ads, he was showing like the behind the scenes, and he was running around Las Vegas with a bunch of people all dressed in green because the cover of his book is green, and he was promoting his book. Somebody stopped him and said, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm promoting my book." He's like, "Oh, I've never heard of you." And he talked a little bit about it. And then Alex turns to the camera. He says, "See, nobody knows who we are."
Nobody knows.
Alex Hormozy has like 10 to 15 million followers across all his platforms. And still there is people in the city that he operates in that don't know who he is.
That don't know who he is.
So for us to think that we're so big, that we're so popular, that we don't need to advertise for ourselves. Like I had that lesson like really early. That's, one of the reasons actually, when I left IBM and I was still trying to speak on accessibility, I no longer had the IBM logo behind me. And people were like, "Who are you again?" "I was an IBM guy." "Don't know. Don't remember you. Get out of here." like I couldn't,
Right.
I had a hard time finding gigs after that. I had to work to get those again. But really, nobody knows who you are. You must advertise and promote every single day and start to that's part of the journey of becoming one of these big speakers. If you want to become a household name, or if you want to release a book, you want to get multi 5-figure speaking opportunities, you got to kind of get known.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to be on camera to do that. I mean, because let's just say you're going to be a speaker, and the most people that you're going to speak in front of, let's just say you bust out and you're speaking in arenas at 15, 20,000. Most people you're going to be speaking in front of is 15, 20,000, unless you get on camera.
Right.
And that's how you have to look at this. You can get a much bigger audience this way than you can being on stages.
100%. Right. And there's no better way to become an expert than to start speaking on camera. And I think that's a big step that people miss. You think that because you've done one podcast, you've written one book. Books are hard, don't get me wrong, but you think you've done one thing or you're known in one area and you think that's going to make you an expert. Well, what do you think an event planner does right away after they hear your name? Let me look this up, because wouldn't you? If you're going to drop $10,000 on a keynoter for an event and you're like, I got to figure out who this person is. You don't think they're going to Google you next?
Yeah.
Well, guess who owns YouTube? Google.
Google.
And guess what? That's why I encourage everybody, you must be putting your long form keynotes up on YouTube so that people can see how you are on stage. And that goes back to the very first note we were talking about, which is like, if you're not watching your content to get better, maybe that's why you're not posting your stuff, because you're actually a little bit embarrassed. You're like, oh, I screwed up there. I didn't like do better. Like that's the whole goal here is like, let's get better, but get better in public. Post that content so that when someone says, send me some stuff of you on stage. Great. Here you go. Here's my YouTube channel. When do you want to talk? Like, it's like you're putting that pressure on, not hold on, give me 48 hours to edit it. Then like screen it to make sure, because then the buying pressure is gone. Like people are sometimes like ready now to talk to you. So put it up online, demonstrate that you're an expert in your craft by scripting and talking about your topic. That's the goal. That's how you get speaking opportunities inbound in 2025, 2026.
Yeah, it's critical to do that. But we talk about this a lot. I mentioned it earlier. You got about 7 seconds to engage with people. How does a speaker do that through a camera lens in 7 seconds?
So the easiest way is just ask a question at the very beginning. Call out your audience and ask a question. Hey, for any speakers out there, are you struggling to get leads coming to you? In this video, I'm going to show you the 3-step method on how to do that. And I'm not going to ask for much time. It's not going to require lots of sending out emails and stuff. It's not going to require you to dance on camera. My name's Cam. I'm a speaker video expert. So let's talk about this right now. Like, look, probably half your audience right now is like, all right, Cam, tell me more about that. Like, tell me how to get inbound leads. Because I call it the pain.
And you're not talking about headphones. And you're not
no,
talking
my
about
gosh, yeah,
so.
Finally. Exactly. Right. but like that's what it's like. Know your audience. This goes back to like how well do you know the pains that they have and like what brand you want to know. So like, let's talk. Like, I harp on burnout coaches because there's so many. Like people think that because you've had one experience in burnout that you can come and become a $25,000 speaker on burnout. There are so many people who go through bad experiences in life. You got to spend time going even more. But again, call your audience. Be like, hey, let's kind of like off the top of the head for someone who's maybe you're helping senior tech executives. Maybe like that, I'd say it's pretty burnout culture there. People who work at Amazon, stuff like that. So hey, why don't you even call it up? Be like, hey, if you're a senior executive in the tech space and you just went through the last round of Facebook layoffs and Amazon layoffs and Microsoft layoffs, I've got 3 tips on how to find your next job, and you're going to get paid even more than what you were paid before. If you don't know who I am, I'm whatever. Like you just kind of roll off like that. Like you're going to get people who are just interested to be like, all right, tell me more. Tell me more about like that. So that's how you hook. And by the way, I just want to throw this in here. People, if you craft your hook even better on your public speaking talks, like when you're in front of a live audience, getting good at your hook. It doesn't need to be as short as 7 seconds because, well, sometimes it does, like depending on who your audience is. But I've heard reports, and I've yet to prove this, but people who get it, who craft a better hook in front of a live audience, score higher in their review scores after a talk. So let me say it again. So like, if you improve your hook at the beginning of a live talk, you're going to get a better score at the end of it on reviews. So I've heard this from a few people now. I've yet to see the real evidence from it, so I don't want to, like, it's anecdotal, but like that means something as well.
That makes total sense to me because if you have them.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
You've got a less likely chance of losing them to be able to get to that good review, as opposed to if you've never got them, or if you take 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes in, wow, what just happened? What did he say in the first 5 minutes? I don't know. So I'm not even sure where we are. And now we're at the end, and that's where the bad reviews come, because you haven't engaged them throughout the entire, talk, whatever that is, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever your time frame is.
Right. And I think TEDx has done a really good job at helping people kind of like break the mold in their minds, because a lot of people's goal is I want to get a TEDx stage. Okay, great. Whatever any listener's opinion is on TEDx, like, I don't care. I think it's a great institution. I think it's helped the entire craft of public speaking level
I do
up.
too.
I think it's helped confidence for a lot of people. I don't have a TEDx talk, but I know many speakers who do have it. And I don't think I've ever heard a TEDx start with, "Hey everyone, my name is Cam, and
Right.
I'm an expert, and I have 3 dogs and 3 kids," like putting people to sleep, right? Like I think
Exactly.
TEDx has done a really good job at saying this is the format that you kind of got to like at least be aware of, and because it's a good format to creating talks. And so if you can just like create your talk, whether it's on document remediation or something super dull like that, like, but if you start with saying like, how many people here have ever struggled at making their document adhere to the government class 3 section, whatever, like, you're going to get immediate audience interaction. Oh, I've done that before. You're calling out the pain right away.
Right.
Great way to start your talk and great way to hook an audience right away. That's it.
Yeah, it's you know the whole that whole idea of you've got 15 minutes or 12 to 18 minutes is whatever it is, and you've got to be on point. And so you've got to come in right away, nail it, and that formula that they've developed, it doesn't really matter what TEDx that you're on, that formula is the same. It's the exact same formula. And if you go through, you can go to YouTube and watch, 30 different types of TEDx talks. They all follow that same formula.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good format. It's a good storytelling format. Another good one is The Moth. Do you know The Moth podcast? Ever heard of that one?
I've heard of it, have not listened to it.
Yeah, it's another one of these like storytelling podcasts. And people are invited to The Moth because I think they're in San Diego. Don't quote me on that one. Who's the fact? Like here, there's an audience. Who's the fact checker who's going to drop a comment in this
exactly
in this video, going to correct me? So I'm going to say San Diego, and I'm going to get it wrong just to get some interaction there. So, but The Moth, you go to The Moth and you tell a story. It's totally story driven. I think you've got like, again, 5 to 20 minutes, like really, really short. You got to condense it into there. But people work to get on The Moth because it's proof that you've worked your craft enough to become like good at this. Like you want to be on it. So anyway, all that to be said is like, sometimes this format, there's a reason why, because it works.
Yeah. Well, let me ask a kind of maybe a shift question here. What do you think about origin stories and people? I'm over the, and I get it. People have trauma. People have these other things, but I think the origin story of trauma is so overused, and you don't have to have at least from my perspective, you don't have to have this great, amazing story, whether good or bad, to have an origin story or to be engaging or to hook people in a keynote or a presentation, what have you.
See, I think what's important to remember is that we are all very self-serving and that we are all very self-focused. So if you come up on stage and say, I lost my house from a fire, and there's like, you're just saying, I, if you're starting off being like talking about the I statements, like it's got to be the most impressive, massive story that you've ever heard. Like we love stories. We love stories of underdogs coming back. But if you're just shoehorning your story in there just to get an emotion, it's going to fall flat. I know I tried during COVID, my grandmother passed away, and I tried to put that in to like a story. And I heard feedback afterwards being like, what, like, the feedback I received was like, you abused your grandmother, or like you used the story of your grandmother just to get like a feeling. And it sucked. It sucked even reading those comments, because it was like, oh, like, and I did. I was like, someone told me to create a story. So I created a story about my grandmother passing away through COVID. It's like a wrong intention. So, but if your story is central to your talk, like if you are speaking, if you're a motivational speaker and you can speak about that, well, then you've got to become a great storyteller in general. Like, don't just like, again, if you're a document remediation person, to go and talk about your origin story is like, what's the lesson that you learned? But I say that, and there's another angle from this. Like, if you can make people relate to you, because what do stories do other than make an audience relate to us? So it's like, if you're going to tell your origin story, you got to get good at telling your origin story. When I just told the story about my grandmother, it wasn't to relate to anybody. It was just to like unload trauma. Like that's a whole angle. It's like, if you're going through your divorce, you don't talk about your divorce, right? Like you got to come up with a lesson at the end. You know, all the kids' stories, all the, or what are they called? The nurseries, not the nursery rhymes, the tales that we learned as kids, right? They all have like problem, amplification of problem, solution, transformation. Like it's a pretty standard storyline, and you got to kind of follow that format, because if you just go and say, you know, I'm going through divorce, everyone, let's talk about document remediation, you're just not going to get like a feeling. You'd be like, wow, what a loser, or something like that. Like that's just what people are going to think. So
that's the Michael Scott version of.
That's right. Michael Scott version. Totally. Yeah. Snip and unsnip. Snip and unsnip.
Oh, that's crazy. That's the first thing I started thinking about, because it's just so funny. You know, and actually, one of the things that I'm working on is developing stories that have a point, right? Because like you said, we all have points, right? I mean, we all have stories, and one of the things I'm working on is taking stories, condensing them down to 2 to 3 minutes that have a point, point that we can actually target to whatever the point is of the presentation or the keynote or whatever it is that we're overall talking about. And sometimes stories can have more than one point, but it's much better if you can have a condensed story that's powerful, that goes on that story arc, that invokes emotion, invokes more than one emotion, and makes the point.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I feel it's so important to get testimonials from your clients, because then you can retell that story of them working with you, and that like is a double-edged sword. Like you could, not double-edged sword, like it's double whammy. What I'm trying to say, because not only do you get their story that you can tell, it's their story of working with you, and you get to talk about that transformation. Like for example, some of the videos that we've done have doubled the speaking fees of some of our clients. I've got a client, Joe. Joe was struggling because his brand didn't match his level of speaking on stage anymore. Like it was living in the dinosaur age from 10 years ago when he still had hair. So after working with me, we went through all his content. We recorded a new session with him. I put him on in front of 2 4K cameras, and we interviewed him in a studio. The output of that was confidence and the ability to get up to that $14,000 speaking fee. And that was over a course of about 6 to 8 weeks. Boom. That's a story. Like there's a transformation in there. There's a problem in there. There's where he was before, where he's ended up afterwards. And like, that's a story that you can tell again and again and again. And that brings in leads. That helps like an audience trust you. I can show proof of that. Like there's so many ways to do that. So it doesn't only have to be a personal story. You said origin story, but like that is a story, and you can demonstrate expertise. But I actually like grabbing stories from like, from as many places I can. Let me give you an example of that, because I love this idea of storytelling, but I think we put too much weight on finding the perfect story. Because what I can do is I can tell a story about what happened this morning. And once you get good at understanding story frameworks, then everything becomes kind of easier. So this morning, I woke my son up. He's 2.5 right now. And great age. He's a terrorist. I got to say, like, it's so bad. He woke up super sweet, and I showed him, I said, I'm going to make you a chocolate milk. Do you know those chocolate bombs? You know those chocolate bombs like that? You drop it in, it melts in the hot milk and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Okay. So I showed him that, and he was so fixated on the fact that it was like a chocolate bar that he lost it. He started full tantrum. It was 35 minutes before I calmed him down, and he was trying to grab the pot of milk and like pulling it down. And we're talking scalding milk on him. Like obviously I didn't want that. It's in the microwave and stuff like that. So it took us 35 minutes to calm him down. And so now I know that sometimes not even showing what you're going to do is the most important thing to do. And how many times has this happened with clients too? Oh, yeah, you start going into explaining too much of what you're going to do, and they're like, dude, I don't even care about this. Just like I want the output of that too. So it's a reminder again that sometimes as humans, we don't need to know every single detail before the end result. Because had I just poured chocolate milk for him, hot chocolate for him, he probably would have been super happy with that.
He would have loved it. Yeah.
Boom. That's a story that happened this morning. I didn't need to prepare for that. Like I just know a story framework where I got to relate it into people. And like I said, client story with there as well, because that's a human thing. Relating it to the overall human experience is kind of, is really what we're all trying to do here. So I don't know. I might use that again. I might not, but that's a great example. Like,
It is.
of when humans aren't, it's an amplification of a problem that a little tiny human had, and we can just relate that to so many different stories. So learning story frameworks, never gonna do bad.
Exactly, and it made me think of something that happened to me last week. So I'm helping somebody, build an audio thing for HOA so they can have meetings and so forth. And someone was talking about feedback with having multiple microphones. I said, look, I don't know how it works. I just know that it works. I know we
Mhm.
can have 7 microphones there. You plug them in. I don't need to know how it works. I just need to know that it's going to work. So don't get into this transistor and that transistor and this. Just just need to know it works, because if you start like just like your son, you start going down that road. I don't really care, and people are going to shut off and shut down, and now you're just talking to talk, and nobody really cares.
Or you can sometimes get yourself in hot water too, right? So
Right.
here now we are. Here we're talking about a story which was like 35 minutes this morning. We're still talking about it now, right? Like, how does this relate to human, like people and stuff like that? Like,
Yes.
that is the power of story. So you don't have to ignore stories, but if you get good at storytelling in general, like, I don't have a really strong origin story for me to tell, like about my divorce or about, my travels and things like that, like, to the wrong audience. It's just like, it just doesn't matter to them. Like, they don't
Right.
care. They just don't care about you. They care about themselves. So everything has to be relatable in some way. So unless you're able to relate and have a point and stuff like that, then I think that, like, the origin story itself is important, but it's not the be all end all.
An all-new season of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Mom Talk has just been blowing up.
Whitney and Jen are on Dancing with the Stars.
Taylor is a bachelorette.
Saying that out loud is crazy. Like, that is huge.
But all the cool opportunities could pull us apart.
It's causing issues in everyone's marriage.
My whole world is falling apart right now. It's chaos.
Watch the Hulu original series, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
So we talk about stories and how they translate. It doesn't really matter if you're on stage or on video. Talked about confidence. Doesn't really matter. You got to have confidence on video, confidence on stage. You got to have enthusiasm or whatever word we want to use on video and on stage. What else translates both? That you got to have both on. Doesn't really matter whether you're on video or you're on stage or just regular interpersonal communication. What are the things that you got to have?
Well, I think empathy is huge, and I think we don't have enough of that these days. I think it's really easy to sit on a soapbox and just say, this is what I think and this is what I believe. Yeah. But it's really in the continuous understanding of people where you're really going to do the most growth. And I think it's so funny. When I started learning about marketing in general, I learned so much more about people. And it's like, that's the core of what marketing is. Even starting around like a simple concept of we want to move away from pain and go towards pleasure. We are hardwired for that. Think of it like, tens of thousands of years ago when we were hunter gatherers and things, like the pain of killing an animal and then not breaking it down fast enough because there would be scavengers coming, right? Like, that's the pain. You got to hurry up. Like, let's cut down this animal and let's go. And the pleasure of being able to be rewarded, of coming back with the meat for the tribe. Like, those are diametric, like those are opposed. Like, you got to make sure you separate those and like speak about that too. So I always try to think about what's the problem, what's the pain, what's the issue that somebody's experiencing right now, and am I able to help solve those problems and go towards that too? So understanding those two levers and how you can use it, I think that's hugely important in all types of communication. Like, stop talking about yourself, start talking about the pains and problems that other people have, and through that you'll understand empathy too, and it will get you a much better result long term than what you think of just on the surface.
Exactly. And then I look at that and take that, just one step further, right? The whole idea of, people talk about authenticity and what really is authenticity. I don't know that I can define authenticity. When I talk about it, it's just me being, it's just, there goes Tim being Tim again. It's just Cam being Cam. It's just whatever it is. And one of the things for me, and like for you to talk about this, when I stopped trying to be buttoned up, locked in, on point, Mr. Professional, and this goes for everything that I was doing. I've got it all together, whether I had it together or not. When I stopped trying to be that person and just relax and got back to being awesome, being Tim, that's when I saw a big shift. What are your thoughts on the whole idea of the locked up professional versus just being normal and who you are?
Well, here's the thing. Okay. I love cigars.
Oh, here we go.
And I like a scotch.
Okay.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Bourbon
But for me to be authentic,
we're
and for me to be authentic and sit here at 10:30 in the morning, drinking a scotch and having a cigar is I would love that. And that would be my authentic self.
Right.
Your most authentic self does not have to be released to the world. Like, it does not. Maybe there's some people out there. Maybe there's some people out there who like to walk around their house like in their birthday suit. And like, maybe that's their true authentic self. That does not need to be released to the public. I don't believe that's what authenticity is. I think it's a version we all have different versions of ourselves. You've got a version of yourself with your family. You've got a version of yourself with your kids. You've got a version of yourself with your clients. And I will guarantee that you're probably not speaking to your clients in the same way as you're speaking to your kids. So does that mean you're being inauthentic with your clients or being inauthentic with your kids? No, I don't really believe that's what it is. I think authenticity is being true to your deeper beliefs, your ethos, at any moment. Like, I wouldn't go and steal from anybody. And so therefore, even if I was with a group of people who are like, hey, it's okay to kind of just like, we're hanging out here, like doing some stuff, like it would be wrong for me to say just because I'm with a group of people that I would do this and become a different person. So it's whenever you feel that tug, like I don't mind dressing up in a suit. In fact, dressing down is a bit of a new thing to me. Like, I sold jewelry for most of my 20s and that was my background. So I would wear full on 3-piece suit with a vest and a tie because I wanted to be at a higher level. Like, that was what I was expected of me. I don't mind wearing that here, even alone in front of camera. And sometimes I will, because that's what I try and portray. But when you become good at expressing your true self, I think that is authenticity. And I may have a version of it or a facet of it when I speak to you or when I'm on stage or when I'm speaking to my kids. Like, I will still speak about I was talking to my other son. I have an 11-year-old as well. And I was talking about when you hold yourself to a higher standard. That is something I speak about to a lot of people because a lot of clients, they come in and they just like what we were talking about before, right? Like, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard. At some point, it's not somebody else telling you you should be better on camera. It's you being like, I suck on camera and that's okay. Like, I got to just get better. Like, and that's holding yourself to, like, I will talk about that on podcasts in one way, to my son as a life lesson, to my little kid in a book. That's all a very deep, like, value of mine is to speak about that. So I think that's what authenticity is am I able to speak about something that is a true value that I have in different ways to different people? That's the best way I can describe it.
Dude, I love that. I love that, especially the end piece about, we talked about this before, the whole idea of continuous improvement. Doesn't matter where you're at. Continuous improvement, lifelong learning, getting better at your craft. If you want to be good, you've got to keep practicing at it. And the whole piece about, dress and how you're perceived is huge, especially in a professional setting, right? So again, and I used to talk about this when I was teaching a lot. When you get to a certain level, you have the right to dress however you want. You can do that. But if you want to be associated with the level that you're at, you need to present yourself at that level. As a student, if you want to get to a certain level, you can't come in dressed like, in sweatpants and a t-shirt. There's whether you like it or not, right or wrong, there is that perception of other people that at some point you have to reach or meet. And then when you get to a certain level, you can do what you want. But I would still suggest when you can do what you want, you still portray the role that you're portraying. The president of the United States is not running around at a press conference in shorts and a t-shirt, right? and I'm not just talking about this. I mean, it could be any president. Go back and look. When do you ever see the president of the United States not in a suit and tie?
Right. Exactly.
Ever.
Exactly.
Ever, except for on the golf course. I mean, that's different. When do you see a chef not in a white shirt and a white hat?
Exactly. Yep.
That because they're in a position of authority or power or whatever it is, and you've got to play that role. Now, playing that role and looking that way does not mean that you don't say and do stupid things. Right. And how you react to that and how you play that off is a different piece of that. And you've got to learn and grow into that to who you are. And I think especially at the younger levels, the younger professional levels, that's a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah. 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 And you're exactly right. I've been in a hiring position before, and I'd get someone in and I'm like, did you even, like, that's first impressions, and especially if you're not known. Going back to brand, we didn't get much time to talk about brand, but it's like that's if you are known before, then you kind of have a bit of grace to do that, right? If I'm hiring somebody like a contractor and I already know he does good work, if he shows up sweaty and gross, he's like, I just came from another job, then I'd be like, okay, no problem. But if I hired that same person to build a new house for me and they showed up with like torn jeans, it's like, I don't care if you came from another job. Like, I'm about to spend, $500,000 to build a new house with you. Then like you owe it to me to dress up with like a little bit better than just coming from like from a different job site or something like that. Like, but that's kind of like, again, many of us think that we are owed more respect or whatever than really what it is. It's, why don't you just put the extra effort in, put on a nice shirt, going back to wearing clothing, like. And you'll try like you're not seeing me here smoking a cigar on your podcast, at 10:30 in the morning, because it's like expecting, hey, would you put that out for a second? It's like not going to attract the right type of person. The podcast is going to be off put, but like, yeah, I'll do that tonight with the boys. That's fine. that's what I want.
Exactly. I could talk to you for hours. I mean, when I look at the notes that I have and some other things, so I'm like right now I've kind of skipped some things, but I'm on page 2 of like 6. So I mean, I've got lots of things to talk to you about, and one of the things that I love about guests, especially guests like you come in it from a different perspective of, it doesn't always have to be serious and step by step, and you have to be locked in. You can't have fun with it. I think if we can't have fun doing what we're doing, why are we doing it?
Yeah,
life is just way too short to not enjoy what you're doing and have fun with it. And when you mess up, you laugh about it, you move on, and that's that. It's I also think that it's really good. And I talk about this a lot for our audiences to see that, okay, you may look at us as experts and we never mess up, but we mess up all the time. I tell people, spend the day with me. I say stupid stuff and do stupid stuff all day long. It's just part of who I am, and you take it and you move on. I don't take myself seriously. I take what I do seriously, just like kind of the conversation that we had before we got on air. Our expectations of our work product, right, is not here. Okay, for camera, it's not here. It's way up here, and we expect those people that are that we're associated with for their expectations to be up here as well. And if they're not, we've got to figure out how to get them to that point.
Yeah. What is an expert other than somebody who just knows a little bit more than you? Right. And when I just want to actually say one thing about the word expert, because, event planners hire experts. So anyone who is looking to get on stage, like, become an expert, right? Like, don't be a generalist, become an expert, like become unreasonably good at one thing, because then that's what people really want to hire. They want somebody who's really good at speaking and unreasonably good at one thing. So that when an audience member's like, tell us more about basket weaving, and you're like, I can answer that question. You're not just I got it. Answer that person right away. That's the whole goal.
Right.
This is the self-discovery journey and like getting better at the small things. And so I mean, I don't have a video background. Actually, it's really funny. I once got one of my clients she said, hey, I do all my editing with these guys. Do you mind? I know you're doing my demo reel, Cam, but do you mind just like getting on the phone with them because they just want to talk to you about like some tips and stuff like that? I'm like, absolutely. And then as soon as they get on the phone, these two guys, they start off the conversation like, yeah, so I've been 32 years in film and television. The other guy's like, oh, I've been script writing since I was like 12, and like I wrote my first play. They had all these credentials, but it didn't matter because the client paid me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
right.
None of all that mattered. Like nothing mattered. I thought they were giving me advice and I was the expert to the client. And so they were talking about like, oh yeah, in this one scene, her left eye is not dead center in the middle of the frame. And that's creating distraction. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. But now thank you for the free advice, because that's not something that anyone could probably have told me before. Right. And now I've got that as freebie advice. That's awesome. Like I got that info. So like combined, I got 60 years worth of advice giving me tips on how to serve the client who paid me. You don't need to be the best ultimate expert at totally everything. You just need to know more than the person that you want to teach and coach and train. Right. Like that's what the whole goal is here. So that's mentorship to some people, that's writing a course for other people, that's writing a book for some others, that's starting a YouTube channel for other people, that's getting on stage for other people. Like it means different things, different people, but like you always have to push your standard up, because we've all worked with people who claim to be experts and you're like, I know more than you, and that sucks. But like you just need to know more than the person who's trying to pay you for some stuff. That's it.
Right. And my guess is for you, you're open to that feedback too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like
you have to be open to it, right?
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be open to that feedback. And I prep people as soon as I sell anything. I say, look, this is a relationship. Like if you can't be honest and tell me that I'm not doing my job right for whatever reason, then I can't fix it. And people are so afraid to say that to clients. Like they've got to be this idol of perfection to them. It's like your client does not expect that, because you probably don't, unless you're spending like, $50,000 in it, like you probably expect a certain level, but let's be real. The majority of people are not like, that's not what you want. You're looking for a partner to help you get to a destination. That's what people usually are.
Right. Exactly. Well, Cam, like I said, I could go on for hours. We'd probably go to sleep, even though we've got good engaging content and we're energetic here, but they'd probably drop off. So maybe at some point in the future, we could hop on and do it again and really talk about branding, because I do think that I know how important branding is, and it's not just a logo, it's not just a color scheme, it's more than that. It's so much more than that. And I do think that people need to hear that. But
oh my God,
maybe we can hop on another call another time and get you back on.
Yeah, for sure. People are so fixated on their colors. Like, get off it. No one cares. Like, no one's buying your color. Like, anyway, sorry. Total sidebar. No one cares about your script logo. Oh my God, I speak to so many speakers who are like, they paid tens of thousands of dollars for a stupid logo and a font. And it's like, when I make your video, I don't even use it. And they're like, no, you have to use it. It's like they're more attached because they spent so much money on it. Because like, when was the last time that you're like, oh, because that speaker brand is in the bottom right of that short form content. Oh, now I'm going to spend money on them. Like, no, it's not how things work. It's not how
exactly. But in the meantime, where can people connect with you?
Best place to find me, LinkedIn's one great place. If you need to have a chat back and forth, YouTube. Otherwise, go look at my content on YouTube. I've got so much content, more about what we just talked about, video and branding and getting speaking leads and how do you do outreach and all that kind of good stuff. Like my brand association, it's like, oh, Cam, you're that speaker video guy. That's what I'm trying to build as my speaker brand, as my brand. So find me on there. Probably the best place. Give me a like and subscribe. It's always great.
Dude, that's awesome. Again, I appreciate you spend some time with us, and we'll get you back on again real soon.
Amazing. Good to see you, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Be sure to visit speakingwithconfidencepodcast.com to get your free ebook, Top 21 Challenges for Public Speakers and How to Overcome Them. You can also register for the Forum for Public Speaking course. Always remember, your voice has a power changer. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.